Let me share with you what I believe is a prophetic statement made by somebody. I don't know if he's Catholic or not. Obviously, the way he speaks, he's a follower of Christ. His name is Paul Harvey. He said this about 50 years ago, but what he says really speaks directly to the present time that we live in. Paul Harvey, may he rest in peace, he probably has no idea how prophetic his message was. Pay attention. It's called If I Were the Devil by Paul Harvey. If I were the devil, I would gain control of the most powerful nation in the world. I would delude their minds into thinking that they had come from man's effort instead of God's blessing. If I were the devil, I would promote an attitude of loving things and using people instead of the other way around. Makes me think right now about the casting couch in Hollywood, huh? Using people. Paul Harvey says, if I were the devil, I would dupe entire states into relying on gambling for their state revenue. If I were the devil, I would convince people that character is not an issue when it comes to leadership. If I were the devil, I would I would make it legal to take the life of unborn babies. If I were the devil, I would make it socially acceptable to take one's own life and invent machines to make it convenient. If I were the devil, I would cheapen human life as much as possible so that the life of animals are valued more than human beings. If I were the devil, I would take God out of the schools, where even the mention of his name was grounds for a lawsuit. If I were the devil, I would come up with drugs that sedate the mind and target the young, and would get sports heroes to advertise them. If I were the devil, I would get control of the media so that every night I could pollute the mind of every family member for my agenda. If I were the devil, I would attack the family, the backbone of any nation. If I were the devil, I would make divorce acceptable and easy, even fashionable. If the family crumbles, so does the nation. If I were the devil, I would compel people to express their most depraved fantasies on canvas and movie screens, and I would call it art.